Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. So, here we go. This is all ramping up. The attempted digitization of our very souls. It's happening at a much faster pace than I ever believed it would. And in the UK, they're starting now with the children in the schools. See here in the Financial Times. Facial recognition cameras arrive in UK school canteens. Advocates say they speed up queues, but privacy campaigners query whether they are necessary. Well, of course they're not bleeding necessary. We're just going to scan your face, the face of your child, a digital imprint of their facial features, and put it into our worldwide database, which we will then use for accessing everything, for travel, for monitoring you when you're walking down the street, so we can maybe fine you for walking the wrong way down the street. Yeah, we are all doing this, all of this so your precious child doesn't have to wait too long in the school canteen queues. Of course you are. It says here, facial recognition computers have found an unlikely new niche, scanning the faces of thousands of British pupils in school canteens. On Monday, 9 schools in North Ayrshire will start taking payments for school lunches by scanning the faces of pupils, claiming that the new system speeds up queues and is more COVID secure than the card payments and fingerprint scanners they used previously. And because this is a mainstream media article, they have to have a dissenting voice in the article, because otherwise it may give the impression that this is a biased article and this whole thing is orchestrated. So in they bring the controlled opposition, this controlled opposition, they turn up on Sky News, BBC, ITV and say, usually, oh, this is not good. This is not good for individuals' privacy. And then they go away and everything carries on as it was. It says in the article, it's normalizing biometric identity checks for something that is mundane. You don't need to resort to airport-style technology for children getting their lunch, said Silky Carlo of the campaign group Big Brother Watch. Yeah, Big Brother Watch are your archetypal controlled opposition, okay? First up, they appear all over the mainstream media. Nothing appears on the fake stream media unless it's planted there or controlled. Then secondly, all it takes is a look at their funding page. Open Society Foundation fund them, which is George Soros. And then take a peek. Some of the other funders, the Joseph Rowntree Reform Trust has baronesses and politicians for directors, and there's a special mention for Lord Baron Paul Strasburger, who is a millionaire politician and a life peer of the House of Lords. It's funded by the very system that is bringing all of this technology in. So yeah, don't be fooled by these people. They won't do anything. They exist in order to make people like yourselves think there's an organisation that is setting stuff up to counter all of this digital tyranny. People see them and they think, oh, they're doing something. No, it's to make you believe that someone else is doing something for you, to stop you organising yourself and doing something about it. And there's a lot of that strategy going about, in my opinion. So, look, I don't know what to say. I told you about the schools. You'll have the social credit system brought in, probably next year, if people get the passports and accept all of this nonsense. The facial recognition, all of that stuff I've been warning about. And it's not just the UK, they are doing this everywhere. Here is Russia, where they have just brought in facial recognition for the underground.
Metro can now pay for their commute using facial recognition technology. The system is called FacePay and connects passengers' biometric data to their credit cards. It's been rolled out across all 241 stations in the Russian capital, but private activists are sounding the alarm.
All he needs is his face. To ride the Moscow metro, Vladimir Belyakov has to pause in front of the facial recognition cameras set up at the ticket turnstiles. Then he can get on his way. Belyakov is one of around 15,000 people who've been volunteering to test the Moscow metro's so-called FacePay system, which has now been opened to the wider public.
Usually you have to get out the right card, or you have to find your Metro Pass or your credit card in your backpack or your pocket. Here you don't have to find anything. You don't even have to take off your mask. You just walk up, pass through, and that's it.
Test passengers had to provide a mobile phone number, credit card details, and a photo to register for FacePay. The Moscow Metro assures users of the facial recognition system that their personal and biometric data won't be passed on to third parties.
The data is stored in a protected system here, and people's bank details are stored on the side of the banks themselves, so they are completely safe as well.
Moscow's Department of Transport says FacePay allows passengers to pay for their ride 3 times faster than usual. The system is now in place on all 14 Moscow metro lines, and there are plans to introduce it on other public transportation like buses and streetcars as well. Above ground, Moscow already has over 200,000 facial recognition cameras. After opposition protests earlier this year, police used footage from the surveillance camera network to arrest several demonstrators. Privacy campaigners warn that the authorities are expanding facial recognition networks to gain more political control.
The danger is, they say, the 220,000 facial recognition cameras are for our safety, but actually they're collecting data. Even the Moscow mayor confirms from that database it is clear who you spend time with and for how long. Your social circles will be identified. That information can definitely be used for political purposes and against Kremlin critics.
In Moscow, the reactions to the idea of the facial recognition system on the subway are mixed.
We're losing control while it's becoming easier for the government to control us.
It's logical to have this system because there is the danger of terrorist attacks. So I am in favor of it.
So there you go. The first fella, he's obviously switched on. The second person, complete idiot. Sorry, but you know, it's a big problem these days. With all that's happened over the last 19 months, all of the deception, all of the psychological games, how can anyone say, I think it's a good idea? What can I do? I mean, I've been talking about this every little step these people take into this digital trap. They're going to become more and more trapped. It's always in small increases, one after another. Little policies brought in and people accepting them because they're just little policies at the time. Oh, you only need to swipe your phone to get into your mobile bank account online now. Oh, we only need facial recognition for you to get into your bank account. Oh, and that will now enable you to pay for anything, anywhere. And it will speed stuff up, isn't it great? All of these services will work as long as you obey all of their rules. It's unbelievable how naive people have become. It really is. I can't see this ending well. I'm afraid they're going to find out the hard way if they accept this. While the rest of us, we need to keep out of it and set up some form of parallel society. If your kid is asked for facial recognition at their school, I would highly recommend telling the school to shove it. I mean, well, I'd take them out of school altogether, as I've said before. Anyhow, as always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the tribe at hugotalks.com, a place for like-minded souls who don't follow the fake stream media and where you won't need facial recognition.